Hi, this is my 12th year running in SIS. I joined on 8th July 2013 and today it is 24. I had been to security for last 27 years, and then after spending 16 years in a multinational organization, I came straight to SIS. At that point of time, people had a lot of apprehension whether from an absolute multinational culture to a Indian multinational. That time it was not an Indian multinational, it was actually a Desi culture. So to what extent the suitability and my acceptance in this particular group will be there. There are a lot of management apprehension, but then I must say that I was lucky, I proved successful, and because of my background of eastern part, so it was pretty easy for me to get set into this particular culture. I joined SIS as the business head for Security Solutions Group, and all through my experience from 97 was the security solution only. After spending 16 years in engineering field, as my background, I am basically a mechanical engineer and worked in shop floor, in sales, marketing, and then different industrial products for last 16 years from 81 till 97. Now, having come to this particular sector, which was, in fact, I had no idea at that point of time that security could be such a great sector. As a technocrat, I only saw that there are certain guards standing in front of a gate or in an industry, in a factory, but then there could be a potential of today's nature. I had no idea, and I never anticipated it would be. When I joined in 97, that time also the professional security concept, it was not there. Still people are talking about Chowkidar or Darawan type of a context, but later on, gradually over a period of time, the concept got changed and it became a professional security, and there are so many. Now, at that point of time, if you talk about sectors, even there are unorganized sectors and organized sectors. Organized sectors, only few at that point of time who were giving the minimum wages and then statutories and all, and there are many unorganized sectors. Even today, if you talk about the size of this particular sector of security in India, there are about 21,000 security agencies are registered in the GST. So that means they are to some extent organized, if not fully organized, partly organized, but then that is an area where it could be our market. Some point of time we had estimated that about 100,000 crore is the market potential, and there were about 70 lakhs, 7 million people working in security in India. And Indian security itself has been growing in the range of 12 to 14%. So over a period of time, the market goes up, and today's market could be in the range of 130,000 crore. And then out of that, even if we take about 60% is the organized or partly organized sector, so there is a huge potential for us to grow. In Vision 25, we had taken this particular challenge that one is that we from guarding company we had to convert to security solution, and the second thing is we had to increase our market share, because we were in the range of 4 to 5% market share, but being the leader of this particular industry or sector in India, 4-5% market share will not be able to govern the particular style, and we had to increase. If you talk about the market share of the leaders in other developed countries, it is in the range of 15 to 25%, even whether you talk about US, you talk about Japan, or any other place that way, but then we were at 4 to 5%. It is just because there are too many concentration of security companies. Even if it was around 10, 15 or 30, it was divided into that from that 60% of organized sector market. Now with the growth and with the time passing, that 60% will gradually become 70, 80, 90, and the kind of ruling on then the wage code and all these things are coming in Indian scenario. At some point of time, maybe around 90% would become organized security, and that time the potential for us to grow would be huge. And today the advantage in SIS is SIS, first of all, SIS is the most tech savvy guarding company, if you ask, in India. Most tech savvy guarding company, and SIS only have been thinking about the scales implementation, because the way today we are already we have about 250,000 people in our payroll, and when it grows, and even if India grows at 12 to 15% level, so the size of the market will become huge. In Vision 25, we had a target of around say 15,000 crore plus, and next year we will have again for next 5 years vision plan, where it could be even double of that particular figure. So when we decide that what will be our targeted turnover for March 30 exit run rate, so that time you will find that it is a huge growth plan or prospect where SIS is capable of handling it. Now in this particular scenario, I will just tell you about my journey with SIS since 2013. And as I told you that the original apprehension got settled, and I could establish myself as an undisputed leader of SIS Guarding Company, head of India. Security solution, there are 5 companies. Original SIS India, and then subsequently we acquired 2 guarding companies in India. One is SLV, another is Unique, and then even Take SIS, it was there, the technological wing of that's a separate company, Take SIS. And V Protect is the alarm monitoring company, which we had original tie-up with Prosegur, and then side by side later on it became 100% ours. So the V Protect is another company where alarm monitoring is growing very fast. So these 5 companies put together, it is a security solution in India, and touchwood, we have been growing quite satisfactorily, though the expectation is even higher. Now there are a lot of challenges in this particular business. Today's business is growth opportunity is there, provided you compromise to some extent on margin, because the market and the competition is not in a very healthy scenario. Now our job and our target is to balance, grow, at the same time improve your particular margin. Now if you ask me honestly, I will give more impetus onto the margin improvement than the growth, and then in that particular thing we were quite successful. We could improve our margin in last 1 year by about 1% plus, which indirectly increased my EBITDA or gross operating profit. But again, the growth is also a question mark. There are a lot of compliance matter which is very important nowadays, and we have been coping with that particular compliance situation. And disbandment is one of these particular area which is pretty important factor. Now the target is to balance between growth, disbandment, margin, and even collection, which is outstanding. So these are the challenges, and then biggest challenge is the manpower shortage in the market, because security guarding industry actually is not a very wanted profession in this particular day to day. If India is growing and they are creating a lot of opportunities in the market, good people will get set into those particular areas. People would not like to be governed by the minimum wage level. Minimum wage means uniformed security is compared with the roadside people, even facility management or whoever it is. That is what is the minimum, and nothing less is possible, and people are not interested in that. So if you are looking for a better specification guy, a better skilled guy, so obviously you have to pay better, which is not happening today as on date. But then there are a lot of projections that okay, there will be one single wage on all India basis, which is a sustainable wage, and if that comes, it will be really helpful. Now, my journey with SIS, it's pretty satisfactory. I must say that originally I was thinking whether it was a right decision from there to here, but then it was an absolutely 100% correct decision, and I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I am confident that or I am satisfied that I could contribute from my particular earlier experience and mix of the knowledge base, other things, so I could contribute. And if you talk about the leadership skills, which was there in built, and then I must say that it was a successful career for me in SIS. Now today we are in the threshold of the 50 years of this particular organization, and even 40 years of exclusive service delivery. So I must say that SIS had a very long journey, and the visionary founder, chairman, Mr. R.K. Sinha, who had driven this particular organization from zero level to today's level of, today group turnover is 12,500 plus crore, and it started from scratch. Now where we want to take it forward, because again this particular visionary plan and the operational improvement, market is there, so it is going in the right direction. And the advantage of SIS is the most experienced group. Anybody in SIS at a managerial plus level is having almost around 15-20 years of experience. So if you add total years of experience, so that's not comparable with anybody else. And I hope this particular organization grows the way it is expected. Already we are number one in security solution in India, and even facility management, and I'm sure that there is no end to it, and we will reach at this particular pinnacle. If you ask me that what was your best moment or best compliment in SIS, what is most satisfying to you in SIS, I should say that first, when I joined, at the time of my final interview with Chairman Sir, and Chairman Sir commented that dharti se juda hua aadmi, so that means man on ground. So he could realize there is a man on ground, and that gave me the biggest satisfaction and compliment in that, which I could prove later. Actually, I was man on ground and dharti se juda hua aadmi. And today the scenario is the way it is growing, and it will reach to that particular position. Best style operation culture in SIS, what I could adapt in my day-to-day official working, even in the family way also. The commitment level, the family bonding, this particular thing which is not available anywhere else. The turbulence in this particular sector is too high, and if you see the consistency in maintaining business growth, challenge, and handling this particular scenario is the best in SIS in today's scenario. The satisfaction level of people or the retention level of management staff is the highest. Now anybody is asking in this, so they want to make a career for the life. It is not for 5-10 years. And that's the biggest compliment in SIS. Anybody coming in, so at the same time they want to continue here because it gives you the particular, special assurance to continue, and the life goes on peacefully. In today's turbulence, in fact, if you see that the Corona period, in fact, in Corona period, for these particular 2 years, it's an absolutely unprecedented. Nobody could expect that it could come, and it came after 100 years. That kind of a situation. SIS had the advantage. SIS could go all out to help people, organizations, in terms of everything, their families, their supply of ration, their movement from one place to other. We were taken these particular, the compulsory services in that, and then we were not stopped by the administration for movement from one place to another. Unlike others. We got that particular band of essential services, and then we moved from all these particular places. And the vaccination part, which was another thing during this Corona period, we covered first vaccination 100%, 200,000 people plus, and another 80% people with the second vaccination too. Till the time this particular vaccination was continuing, though there were certain few guys actually expired in this particular thing among many, but that percentage was not very high. And the kind of support system what we developed, we made an original kitty of set 10 crore for these particular people who will be suffering in this particular Corona crisis, or family support is needed. And we spent that particular money. This was from our own original, earned profit. So that is the kind of initiative which SIS. Anywhere there is a problem, SIS is there. Anywhere there is a support required, SIS is there. SIS people, SIS managers, SIS Javans, everybody works as volunteers in a crisis situation. And that's the greatness of SIS, which others do not have. So I am pretty satisfied the way the culture and then the bonding is taking it forward. When I joined G4S MNC, so that time that was my first experience with the MNC. So I had no idea that what is an MNC style. And then when I continued with that, I was under the impression that that is probably the better organization style, and I got matched with that. And out of my 16 years of association there, so last 5 years I was CEO there, so I was heading everything. Though originally I joined as a regional director in East based in Calcutta, and that subsequently moved to Delhi. Now the flexibility is relatively less in MNC culture, unlike SIS, where anything and everything is possible if you can justify. There they go as per certain governed rules, there are certain standards and then specifications, so you have to maintain that. One particular, starting from a marketing a printing paper, in printing paper across the world, everywhere it is the same style. So that is how it is to be maintained, whereas in our case, it is as per your particular choice and the flexibility. At the end of the day, you have to prove that that gives you a better output. That is how the cultural gap is plugged. But MNC culture is also not that bad, but then again off late or later on it got diluted. Not all these particular MNC, but then my experienced MNC, but then ultimately the fear of continuing the job, whether they will be able to maintain their particular status or not, that was gradually getting lost. The confidence level in the initial stages, like say beginning of 2000 vis-a-vis when I left in 2012-13, so that time that particular confidence level was actually going down. But then the people who were really good, so they had no fear. So ultimately it was survival of the fittest kind of a situation, which anyway it was to happen in any industry when the days go. Now in SIS, that scenario has not come yet, but and the kind of revenues generation and prospect, and if you can really drive that situation in that direction, will ensure that that situation will not come. But ultimately at the end of the day, there is a challenge. There is a challenge. Now we have to handle those particular challenges. Yeah, the major changes during this particular, it is not that, but if you say that I was part of this from 2003 last three vision plans, but in fact that particular changeovers, it started from another 10 years before. So though that time there was no vision 5 years planning, maybe the vision 5-year planning started from 2010, so I missed one, and the plan, because first of all it was to move towards technical side, and then as I told that it's the scalable scenario, because the original concept was SIS has to grow. At some point of time when I was there initially, SIS was not the number one company. They were number 2, and target was to make it number 1. Now for making it number 1, obviously the top line is important, and then we went all out to grow. And then at that point of time our growth was in the range of 25 to 30% CAGR. But then there is a limit. So growth means ultimately at the cost of margin, and margin deteriorated, and then once we reached the top position and then little far ahead of the number 2, so we ensured our number 1 positioning, and that time we started concentrating on improvement of margin. Margin improvement is always the toughest scenario, and then at that point of time, if you have to improve the margin because your competitors and your market is not actually permitting to that extent, and then by the time you are talking about it, this particular compliance scenario has come. Now just to tell you that when your wage is less, that time margin always will become higher, because there is a notional value of a product. When I joined in security sector, so that time the margin was in the range of 28, 29, 30% easily, because the minimum wage was less. And then if you have a pricing template, at that time even if you are say 2,500 rupees wage and your price is say 5,000 rupees, for any customer 5,000 rupees will definitely be a cost to a guard who is coming to you for 26 days 8 hours dedicated service. He will not mind to give you that. When the same wage becomes 20,000 rupees today, so a cost of a guard for 26 days 8 hours becomes 40,000 rupees. So he will think twice, and there is always a pressure onto that particular margin. He will never be able to give you that kind of a situation, and that is how the margin is under pressure. So we have to go for volume, and we have to go for solution. So it is not possible when the electronic security industries or electronic security market, so their prices are going down day by day, and the manpower price is going up day by day. So there is an intersection level, and we have already actually crossed intersection level in most of the states. So some of the states even manpower becomes cheaper than the electronics, and some of the states the electronics are cheaper than the manpower. Now, whether the particular growth in security solution would be the priority, that is a case-to-case basis to be decided. It is not that India is a vast country. It is not that in India all the states put together the same phenomena will come. So the advantage is even if security solution, electronic security market is increasing, if there is a question, will there be a time when the manpower requirement will die down? If you ask me honestly, not for another 50 years at least, because in some cases the solution will grow and some cases manpower will go, and if SIS is there all through, so there will be a pretty standard balance. See, COVID, but I should not say that, but maybe it was a blessing in disguise. Once in 100 years, that kind of a situation can come. But then the 100 years back, that particular flu, and this time this particular flu, the nature was a little different. And over a period of time, because I am sure that there are a lot of this kind of diseases keep coming, and even like malaria, and then there are so many things which came and then which is totally gone, and I am sure this COVID also will be totally out of this dictionary after another 10-15 years. But when it came as a big shock. It came as a big shock. We never imagined or we never thought that it can affect in Indian situation to that extent. Yeah, there are African countries and other countries where the lifestyle and then this thing is little, they're more poor and this compared to the developed or developing countries. But then surprisingly the most developed and developing countries had the maximum toll. You know, Europe had the maximum toll, who are absolutely developed. India being the developing country, to that extent, if you talk about the total population vis-a-vis the affected people, the percentage is less. Percentage is less because of the population. But it was really a big shock. As far as I am concerned, myself, in fact, I was never off for a single day during this particular 2 years from the office. One advantage was I was close by, and then there is no point in staying at home. Rather, you know, you come to the field, you have that essential services tag, your car is tagged, and you can go anywhere you want. Nobody will stop it. That time, it was an absolute free flow for me. And I really, I will not say that I enjoyed that scenario, but actually I went all through during that particular period to be closer to the customers. And that had given me an extra edge, that what I was doing during this particular, directly or indirectly, during this COVID support. And being the leader or being the head of SIS, going around meeting all these particular customers when people are not coming, everybody is working from home. And in fact, I had been to few homes also, you know, to meet them, to assure that you know, everything is fine. So there, SIS always had an edge as a service provider over the competitors. The best organization in the country, the best potential growth oriented setup, best people in this particular system, and the working culture. The challenges will be there, but these challenges has to be handled also through expertise. And then I am sure that SIS will reach the particular milestone, and every 5 years whatever vision plan we do, and then we achieve those numbers. Today we are in the threshold of closure of 25, then vision 30, then 35, 40, and you know, there is no end to it.
जब 5-10 हज़ार लोगों की संख्या थी हमारे यहाँ, तो बेसिस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में बहुत डिफिकल्टी होती थी, शिकायतें भी आती थी। ऐसे ही स्ट्रेंथ 20,000 के आसपास पहुंची, तो उसको जो है मैनेजमेंट ने सिस्टम में अपग्रेड किया।